Hey everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Life and Fitness podcast. I'm Cheryl Patton.
And I'm Megan Prince.
We started this podcast as a way to connect with more people who are struggling to fit it all in. The workouts, the food, kids, work, and relationships.
We know that we're not perfect, but we hope that through our struggles and our mistakes and our failures and our successes that we can help more people through their challenges and be successful. So if you want some tips and tricks to help you along your journey to be the best version of yourself, then this is it.
All right. Hopefully the next time we record, my dying computer will be replaced. So again, I'm doing my best to eliminate this background noise. But anyways, the show must go on. And today we thought we would talk about how to stay motivated during the winter months, during those cold months where you just do not want to bundle up and go outside. And so you just rather stay inside, all nice, comfy, cozy, on the couch with the clicker, call it a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the worst thing is getting out of bed in the morning when it's winter, because then it's not even just getting out of bed and getting your stuff on. It's going outside. The car is cold. You have to wait for it to warm up. So that's 5 minutes. And if there's snow, you're cleaning that off. And it's just a whole entire other process.
Yeah.
And
more steps
in order to get there. And I think for the people that are the most committed to their goals are like, I'm not letting that stop me. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do it. And that's how it goes. But I mean, for a lot of people, I have a lot of clients that are like, how do I get my steps in? Because I don't like the cold. And I'm like, okay, first of all, walking pad. My daughter's talking about getting a walking pad. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you could do that. Have a treadmill in your house, obviously. But I think there's so much value in being outside because my kids, they'll get frustrated and they're annoyed and all this kind of stuff. I said, we're going outside and we're getting some fresh air. And in the winter, I actually find it so, especially because sometimes I have anxiety. When you get outside and there's that fresh, cold air, it changes. Like when they're doing hot and cold therapy for people that have anxiety, when you get into a cold bath, you actually are like shocking your nervous system to be like, hey, dude, get back to get back here.
Snap out of it.
Or like when people have anxiety and they have the elastics and they snap it, it's just something to be like, okay, can we get back to like shock yourself? Or when somebody smacks you across the face, you know, when you're angry and you're like, oh, shoot, like I'm open up now. But I think being outside, I think even in the winter is so important. And what I found is when I was a cool kid and I didn't want to, wear snow pants and hats and all that stuff. But now I have a really warm coat that almost goes down to my knees. I put my snow pants on every time. I put my boots on. I put mitts. I put a hat. And then I go out and I actually enjoy being outside because I'm not cold. Sometimes I'll even lay in the snow and just look up at the stars when we're out and I'm just laying in the field and enjoying it. But I think it comes down to when people are like, it's cold. And I'm like, but first of all, we live in Canada. So we're going to have to
figure out a way
to like enjoy it, right? Like what things can we do to enjoy the winter? And I think for me, it's being warm because I don't like being cold. And of course, I don't want to go outside when you're freezing and go for a walk. But there's so many benefits to being outside in nature and your nervous system and stress and your cortisol levels and all the things that we all are high, that it's so important, I feel like, to get outside.
And I think too, like if you go for a good stretch of time of not being outside and then you finally go outside and you get, if we happen to have sunshine, but it's a cold day. And I think only then, because I know I'm totally guilty of this. I'm not a cold weather person at all, but lately I've had to get the dog out for more walks for my daughter. And I'm like, this feels really good. Right? But you almost start to forget how good it is for you being outside in some of the cold weather when you forget to get out and get into the cold. Like,
I know. And how can we acclimatize? Like, I remember my sister-in-law was like, we have to acclimatize. So you have to, when I go outside now, when you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm going to be cold, I'm going to be cold, I'm going to be cold, your mind's already saying I'm going to be cold. Right? And it's accentuating it for you as you're outside. I'm cold, I'm cold.
Yeah.
But then if I'm places and I'm cold, I'm like, okay, you're okay. You're not like gonna freeze to death. Like,
No.
You're okay. But I think, there's so many times at night, and I do not want to go outside and walk the dog. And then I end up walking for 45 minutes because I'm just really enjoying just being outside. And then I come back. And even my daughters are on this thing of now getting out and walking with me. Like, can we walk after dinner? And they're always wanting to walk after dinner. Like, let's make sure we do 10, 15 minutes even. Yep. And that's what they do in Europe. Yeah. Like, you see people all the time as families, they have dinner and then they all go out for walks.
And not only just dinner, but again, I don't know if I've ever touched on this, but they're called like digestion walks. And it's actually highly recommended that you go out for 10 or 15 minutes after each major meal. Mm-hmm. It helps your digestion, because I know, like, for me personally, there are times where, I've eaten and I have to just go sit in my office because I got to get stuff done. And I can just feel myself just starting to bloat. Mm-hmm. And it's just because I'm now sitting. Things are just all crammed there. Like the whole GI tract's just like condensed because you're sitting. You're not upstanding. You're not walking around. You're not facilitating movement through your digestive tract after you've eaten. Mm-hmm. So you can always, like, if going out, say, for half an hour or 45 minutes is just like not happening, do those little bite-sized pieces if you can, after breakfast, after your lunch, and after your dinner. 10, 10, 10. There's your 30 minutes done. And you don't have to necessarily bundle up as badly because you're not going out for as long. Yeah. But that is definitely another way to kind of just get around it.
And it also makes you, again, like, not get up and then go grab the desserts or the little snacks that you want after dinner. You literally just get up, get out, and you're walking. And then you get back, you don't feel like I want to. That's a good tool, like, when you want to, like, snack or when anything, just get outside, because then it gets your mind off things. You're not near the kitchen. You're not near anything.
Yeah. And that goes for any time of the year. But I definitely, in the winter, like, we definitely, our bodies, our brain do, I think, shift into more of a hibernation mode. We have less sunlight. We have less sunlight during the day. We just have a lot more cloudy days. Some people can get affected by that a lot more than others. Mm-hmm. And so, I think if you can find ways to get outside during the winter for 10 minutes.
Or just get the walking pad, right? If that's something, but I gotta get outside. I gotta, like, get outside and breathe and feel the air. Because, I mean, when kids used to get sick and they used to have colds and bronchitis, parents would leave the baby sleeping outside in their strollers in the winter. Yep. Literally, to, like, get them to, like,
fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air. When you're sitting in a house, I'm opening the windows all the time when the kids have colds and they're like, I'm freezing. And I'm like, well, just wrap you all up. But then you're breathing in fresh air, right? Because it's so dry in the winter.
Yes.
Also, I guess, just if you really have a setup at home, like a couple times a week. If I am not getting out in the winter, or if there's a snow day, have stuff at home. Have dumbbells at home. And if it's a snow day, you still are able to, like, or move. Even honestly, just put on a YouTube video for the 30 minutes and do that, right?
100%.
Because if you know you're not going to be the person that leaves the house during the winter, then but to give up I think it's such a beneficial time in the winter also, because we don't have to be in a bikini. We don't have to be on the beach. This is such a good time to put on some muscle. Yeah. You can wear your hoodies to the gym. Yep. You can't wear a hoodie in the middle of the summer because it's like 26 and you get in there and you're already sweating. Yes. You're like, oh God, I can't. Yeah. In the winter, you can cover up a little bit. Yeah. So you can, like, spend the winter building the muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I know we've touched on this before, but, like, just going through seasons of gaining muscle, maintaining muscle, maybe going through a deficit if you want, use the seasons of the year, because we are lucky to live in a place that has 4 seasons to, almost cycle it with how you train.
Yeah, because I think like imagine you lived in Hawaii, it's hot all the time. It'd be so hard to have that build phase, that maintenance phase where you're not feeling like perfectly at your best and you're eating more and you feel a little more fluffy. You're never going to have that opportunity because there's always going to be hot and you're always going to be at the beach and you always have your summer clothes.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting in the winter time, right? Because you can eat a little bit more, try to build some muscle, cover up a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? And then spend that time really where you're not having, to be on the beach in a bathing suit. I think the winter is a good time to kind of give yourself a little bit of grace. Not to say go and like binge eat and like gain a ton of,
It's not a free for all.
It's not a free for all, but I mean, just, spend a little bit of time in the winter not having to feel like you are always working on fat loss and leaning out. And
everybody needs the mental break from that again. And it sort of depends on where you are in your fitness journey,
100%.
For sure. And, but no, I think definitely, figuring out a way that's going to work for you so that you don't use the season as an excuse to just quit. And I'm going to wait until the weather's nicer outside. Mm-hmm. Well, then, okay, in the spring, when it's still cool and now it's raining, now what?
Yeah.
Or in the summer when it's humid and like 35 degrees, now what? Or in the fall where now the air is starting to get cool again, now what? Right? Like you can always find an excuse regardless of the time of the year. And you can always find an excuse regardless of what is happening in your life. Mm-hmm. So, and I know we come from the fitness space, so maybe it's just a little easier for us to make it more of a priority. But I think it's just you have to find a way to make it weave into your lifestyle so that you can be consistent at it. And I know we've talked about consistency can be something as literally as once a week. It doesn't have to be 6 times a week. You can be consistent 1 day a week is way better than being consistent 5 days 1 week, 0 for the next 2, 4 days the next, right? Get consistent first and then use that as your stepping stone and building block to keep improving.
And I also kind of use winter as like this challenge and like, you want to challenge me? I remember one time Movati, I went to Movati and we're like 10-minute drive from Movati here. But I remember it was this huge snowstorm, like massive, like buses were running, I think.
Wow.
But it was massive, like crazy, a couple feet. And I got all my kids in their snowsuits and I was ready to get the bus to Movati. Like, I'm like, no, there's no way I'm missing this workout. Like, I am going. And then we get out there and the kids are like to their waist. And so finally I was like, okay, we have to go home. Like, literally, this is ridiculous to try to get to the gym.
Yeah.
So we got home and then I was like, no, I can still do a workout at home, right? Like, I can still do it. And I think just using...
And it's amazing what you can even do with body weight if you don't have anything. Yeah. Like you said, like, go on YouTube, search up body weight 30-minute at-home workout, and you'll get a gazillion hits, right?
Yeah, because I think if we use winter as that excuse... And I know it is hard, right? It's hard to get up. So if you're not a morning person and also the morning and cold is horrible for you, then maybe think about changing your workouts to after work. So it's something that works a bit for you better. In the summer, it's easier because it's light at 6 o'clock and then you're like,
light at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we don't have a lot of light, right? Like
it's getting, slowly better.
Even at 5:30.
February now, but
you're finished work and it's still dark. So you're like, oh my gosh.
Go to work in the dark, come home in the dark.
Dark. And that sucks, right? So it's kind of like find the best time of day for you.
Yeah.
Because I think morning getting into bed and it's cold is probably the worst. So maybe changing up your schedule in the winter would help. Thinking about doing a couple times at home. And maybe spending the winter a little bit of time building muscle and eating a little bit more and,
Yeah. Take advantage of the season.
Advantage of the season.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
So again, just sort of proving that regardless of the time of year, the weather, life circumstances, there's always a way to make your habits, your progress still consistent and happen. They don't have to come to a dead stop because it's cold outside, it's dark outside. Like you said, I think that's brilliant. And like switching the time of day that you do work out, like maybe, if you happen to have a hybrid job, so on the days you go out to work, maybe those are the days you either go to a gym or walk outside. The days you work from home, maybe take advantage and you do home workouts those days, right? So, and sometimes if you're not too sure how to make this work for you, again, that's what we're here for. That's part of our jobs, is to help you navigate that and create that plan for you so that you can get consistent, even if it is just one day a week.
Yeah. And I think there's never going to be a good time for
never.
anything.
Never.
There's always going to be something coming up.
Yep.
Like, it's like having kids. There's never a good time. Who says
exactly
like this is the perfect
this is
timing
perfect
for
time to
having
get pregnant
kids.
and have a child?
And like, no, there's never going to be a good time like to start your habits, to get going. So you're just going to have to like start in the middle of the week, start on a Wednesday, start on a Thursday, start in the winter.
And honestly, I think the busier you are in life, the better the timing it is, because you're going to be that much more hyper focused on making it happen. And then when life does slow down, you've got those habits now so ingrained because you did it when life was crazy that now it's going to seem like a breeze.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but I think honestly, do it when life is crazy. That's when you should start taking your steps forward.
Yeah. And then you're ready as life slows down to already have those habits in place.
Yeah, exactly. So don't let the cold, don't let the dark stop you from reaching your goals. Thanks everybody for listening today, and we truly appreciate you. And let us know what your biggest takeaway was today, and if you have any questions you want answered on the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to automatically receive your episodes and to help us reach more listeners. We would love to connect with you on our socials, either Facebook or Instagram, with links in the show notes. Till next time, keep taking those small steps towards your best life.